Hey everyone, welcome to today's exciting show. Susan, little Ben's girlfriend, arrived, and seeing Ryan, they wanted to call a doctor, but he never arrived until evening. At this point, Ryan's condition worsened. She called out and raced towards the sea, and when she reached the underwater, she seemed in extreme pain, then sprouting healing bloods, bones peeling to grow fins, back skin bursting, and a dorsal fin rapidly forming. Even her feet quickly fused to become a fishtail, and just then, little Ben, who heard the ruckus, saw this on the monitor. Little Ben rushed into the sea, but she never expected. She had barely dived in when she encountered a mermaid, and this mermaid did not hesitate for a moment to launch a fierce attack on her, forcing little Ben to swim towards the shore with all her might. Luckily, there was a metal pipe by the shore, so she bravely scared off the mermaid and snatched back her life. Realizing the severity of the matter, little Ben hurriedly sought out the old woman Helen. Helen is the only expert in town researching mermaids, so little Ben came to investigate their existence. After all, what she saw was too real. Seeing little Ben's experience, Helen handed her a book about her family and mermaid history. Then little Ben returned to her car, opened the book, and found illustrations of humans mass-killing mermaids. The scenes were incredibly horrific, almost like humans carrying out a genocide against mermaids. After seeing all this, little Ben went to find the fishermen who claimed to have seen a mermaid the next day. She wanted to join them at sea to find a mermaid. In deep sea, something fishy appeared on radar below their boat. They thought a mermaid appeared. The captain aimed his rubber gun, but little Ben, recalling the genocide, pushed it away at the crucial moment. Although little Ben saved the mermaid by pushing the captain's gun away, the mermaid didn't seem to have any plans to leave and continued to wail loudly. Seeing this, little Ben didn't hesitate at all and immediately jumped into the water. Thinking she would see the mermaid again, she was surprised to discover that the wailing came from an instrument stuck in the propeller. Little Ben suspected it was a Doppler flow device, but it was clearly modified to sound like a mermaid, intended to lure them. The next morning in town, Ryan transformed back into a human and came here. Lacking clothes, she intended to try her luck at a free shopping spree, but did not expect to be interrupted by the shop owner. So startled, she grabbed a nearby metal rod and then headed to Helen's shop. During her last visit, she saw the mermaid poster and thought she could find her own kind, so came back. Helen tried to understand Ryan, who gestured with objects due to his silence. Luckily, mermaids are intelligent. So after gesturing, Helen realized Ryan was looking for her sister. Ryan seemed starving and searching for food. Since human food was suitable, Helen settled her in the store, then went out alone for seafood. Meanwhile, little Ben told his girlfriend Susan about the mermaid, showing her the surveillance footage of Ryan. Susan was utterly shocked. However, they currently didn't have a clue about mermaids, and the only way to know more was to seek out the expert. At that moment, Helen returned with seafood. Soon after, little Ben and others followed. Noticing their uninvited arrival, Helen wanted to ask them to leave, but little Ben pulled out the Doppler noodle device from the night before, asking Helen to listen. However, as soon as she turned it on, the grim sound resonated deeply with Ryan, who dashed downstairs to snatch the device, thinking that her sister was inside it. Yet, as she tried to open it, liquid poured out and quickly corroded her arm. Thankfully, there wasn't much of it, and eventually everyone settled down. Trusting little Ben, Ryan believed they could find her sister, but had no other leads besides the device. Meanwhile, Ryan's sister remained trapped by little Ben, her arm moisture gone. They had only the device as a lead, as she suffered in the bathtub. Whether it was sensing her sister's pain or just being anxious, Ryan stealthily crept into Helen's bedroom in the middle of the night, grabbed a dagger, and walked outside, as if she could sense where her sister was. To help Ryan find her sister, little Ben found the captain's son, Sanders. The fisherman taken by the military was Sanders' best friend. Sanders sought his friend, aligning their goals. Needing to care for Ryan, he couldn't act alone. Little Ben saw Sanders as the best investigator. Ryan returns to Helen's, gives back the dagger, saying nothing about last night. Soon, little Ben arrives. But whoever asked about last night, Ryan stayed silent. Just then, little Ben got a message. It was from Sanders. This morning, he got a text claiming she was Chris, with SOS at the end. Seeing it, Sanders realized it might be from Chris' stolen phone. He and his friends found online it belonged to a nurse. Then, to learn more, he followed the nurse, which led them to a military base. But the trail stopped because they had no way to enter the base. The real problem was that Ryan didn't look human at all. So little Ben and his group brought her back to their rescue station to teach Ryan more speech and learn about her mermaidkin. Through Ryan, they learn mermaids transform into humans ashore, but it's painful, hence little Ben's attack when entering water. Moreover, her mermaid clan was numerous, but rarely came ashore, considering land far more dangerous than the ocean. Later, they found Ryan exceptionally intelligent. With a glance, she rapidly completes animal tests, weighing nearly 198 pounds. Her strength was remarkably powerful. However, during the test, another rescue station employee suddenly arrived. Even though Ryan had mastered most English and wasn't suspected, they didn't expect Ryan to seek out his colleague alone while little Ben and Susan discussed. Due to her mermaid allure, the colleague invited Ryan to a party, and Ryan agreed. By then, Little Ben's group had finished, and Ryan had left the rescue center. Fortunately, Susan saw the colleagues' social media posts prompting them to rush to the party. As soon as they found Ryan, she was bumped by a dancer. They feared exposure, but Ryan didn't transform. Meanwhile, the police appeared for unknown reasons. Fearing discovery, Susan hid with Ryan. Little Ben stayed to handle the police.